Dave and welcome to Littleton. Today we're going to be looking at a second-hand auto coach from GWR by Hornby. So as you can see, I've already got it out of the box because I can't unbox it with one hand and my stand for the camera is broken. So instead of an unboxing, I'll do an untunneling. So there it is coming out of the tunnel. So these would have been used on small branch lines with something like the Panier Tank. There were other tank engines that GWR built that were capable of using these. So if you're not familiar with these, basically if you had a small branch line and there was no passing loop at the end or no turntable, which meant that you couldn't get the engine to the other end of the train to make it safe to drive, what instead you had was something like this, an auto coach. It depends on which company you're talking about. Some would call it, well, Great Western called it an auto coach. Southern Rail I think called it push and pull, pull and push. Others called them push pull, and LMS called it a drive-in trailer. And basically, when you reach the end of the branch line, the driver would get out of the locomotive and then come and sit in this end of the carriage. And in there would be the controls that he needed to be able to drive the train. The train was only certain engines could use these coaches. They needed to have the correct equipment to couple up to enable the controls in the cab at this end to control the speed and braking of the steam engine. The fireman would stay on board the steam engine, making, keeping an eye on the coal and the fire and the water, and doing all that. Instead of a whistle, you had a bell at the end of the carriage, so you'd hear a bell ring as you were coming up to a crossing. Engines that had the correct equipment, I think, were either Panier Tanks or 14XX. I'm not sure if the Prairies may have also been fitted with it as well. When you go on into British Rail, just in case you're modelling British Rail, the standard class 2 tank engine was fitted with the equipment needed to operate these, and yet they were seen in Wales. I think including operate using the GWR coaches, although there were coaches built by other rail companies, like I say. And so let's take a look at this model. So this one is by Hornby. It is, I'll get the number, it's R4025B. So obviously they did it with perhaps other liveries, but definitely other carriage numbers. It's quite old, this one. As you can see by the box, it is one of those older boxes. There is a warning on the box saying that it's limited as to which radius curve it can use. I'm used to using the first, second, third, fourth radius, so I never know what that means. You'd have to look that up and you'd know if it would work. It does have couplings both ends, but I've removed the coupling. It's just it's a D-link, but it just clips off quite easily. Let's see, so detail wise, it's mostly molded details. The vents on the roof, or are they for the lights, gas lamps, are glued on there, separately fitted. They're not part of the moulding. I don't think they're metal though. The bell's separately fitted. I'm turning into Sam's Trains here. The handles are all moulded, everything else is moulded. There are metal handles to go on the central, I suppose you can call them central doors there. Those come in the package, need to be glued on, so I will need a steady hand with that, and obviously you don't want to get glue all over the model, otherwise it will be ruined. This one was second hand, so it cost me £16, not too expensive. I think it perhaps should have been a bit cheaper considering its age, maybe like £12 would have been better. Inside the carriage there is, you do have, get that out of the way, inside the carriage you do have the seats. In fact, I'll just pause this and I'll take the roof. Okay, so the roof's coming off. Something to note is there's an extra clip at this end, which means this end has to come off last, and that end is obviously where the driver sits. You have to start with the blank end first. You just pull it off with your fingernails. The clips are just those, so it's very easy to get off. It doesn't say it in instructions, but I had a little look around and then noticed, I was able to see through the window the clips there. So inside, obviously, because of its age, it's gone a bit of a funny yellow. Probably was yellow to begin with, but it's a patchy yellow now. There are 4 screws in there holding in the interior. So obviously I will undo those screws at some point, give the seats a little bit of paint and pop some passengers in. There's the seat where the driver sits. There we go, for demonstration purposes only. I've popped in the 1950s Bachmann train crew, the driver. He sits there quite comfortably. Obviously you wouldn't use him because he's the wrong period, although if you don't care about periods you can. If you're modelling Heritage Railway, who knows what dress code they might be using. But he fits in there very nicely. He might need his feet filing off to make him fit properly, but there he is in the end. I think that looks very, very nice. Yeah, so you can get the other passengers sat in there quite easily. So now I guess I'll do a bit of running. Things to note: the buffers are metal, which is nice, they're not sprung. I've already said the D-link couplings just clip in and out. The roof's easily removable, although you need screws to take out the interior. It does, or to release the bottom. It does have that second, I don't know what radius that is. It does have that warning there about what radius curve it can use. These bogies, that's the extent that they will go to. This is second and third here, and it's gone up round that second radius curve quite happily. So on that bombshell, I'll do a bit of a running session, and you can see what it's like. Oh, and the wheels are plastic. Right, something worth noting: when you're putting this on, you do have to squeeze quite hard. Keep your hand clear of this. I've just broke that. Just pop a tiny bit of glue. Right, okay. Just clip that back together. Clean off the excess. Bloody things. This is why I hate model trains. Bloody unclipped.